Hey everyone, Scott Hansen here from NFL Red Zone, and you're watching the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. 1 hour of commercial-free podcasting starts now. Enjoy the show.
Hit it.
Welcome back to the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. Matt is rocking a brand new setup, so we should no longer be lagging and we should be good to go moving forward.
Yes,
Pod
sir.
is back to full strength here. For today's episode, we'll be breaking into the AFC South for our sixth division in the NFL Division Series. So we have the AFC South, AFC East, and AFC West remaining. We will wrap up the AFC South this week, starting today with the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's get right into it and talk about the Jags. They're a little interesting. They got some interesting pieces. First and foremost, though, they got former Eagles head coach Doug E.P. at the helm this season instead of the incompetent Urban Meyer, to say the least. What kind of impact does Doug make on this team as a whole, and specifically Trevor Lawrence? Do we see Trevor Lawrence being a sneaky late quarterback pick that can be a low-end QB1?
Well, we've seen Doug have a quarterback finish top 10 in 2 of the 4 years he was in Philly with Wentz. So I think he's obviously going to be more successful than Urban Meyer was. But I think the pieces around are still a little questionable to be very high on Trevor. He'll be better than last year, though.
He better be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he really better be. His current ADP is like QB 18. So he's definitely being drafted in most leagues as a backup. I think he's worth a flyer at that point. Especially with Doug calling plays. Now, I do think the offense has to be better than last season because last season was clearly chaos for this team. Mm-hmm. They did lose DJ Chark early last year. They replaced him with a guy we'll talk about in a minute. So I do think this team is going to be looking pretty good. But the Jaguars do still have a dilemma at running back, and that's James Robinson still easing back into coming off of a torn Achilles in week 16 last year. He's probably going to miss most of the season. He does have a chance, obviously, to come back, but tough to return on a torn Achilles and probably not going to want to rush it, especially if the Jaguars are trash. But Travis Etienne is now fully healthy in camp. Is he primed for a breakout season?
100%. But
Indeed.
Hold on. I know, Matt, do we even have to say it about J-Rob?
No.
It hurts.
It makes me upset talking about it, honestly.
I love
That's my
him
guy.
so much. He doesn't deserve this.
He doesn't. I love him with all my heart.
Yeah.
But
really tough break.
maybe Etienne will be our new guy. Maybe we'll fall in love with him.
Maybe. If that's
Etienne?
the case, they need to ship J-Rob off to where he can have an opportunity because he is no joke.
Kansas City.
That'd
be
wild.
juicy.
Give it-
That'd be
give it a
juicy.
Clyde.
Yeah. Definitely be talking about the Chiefs coming in a couple weeks here. But Travis Etienne, I do like him a lot this year. Not as high as his ADP, I think, has been pushing, but I do like him. I think he's going to be a solid back. He's got a ton of upside.
Do you think there's the chemistry? No, we talk about like Burrow and Chase. Do you think there's a college chemistry with running back and quarterback? I feel like this type of chemistry is more like Trevor saying, "Trust me, bro," is a source for like getting him on the field more. Like, trust me, he's good. But there's no like handing the ball off better with the ETN because they played in college. It's just a fun story.
Well, I mean, I do think he's going to be involved heavily in the passing game. Last year, they didn't really involve J-Rob too much in the passing game, and I think this is kind of where ETN can excel with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I do think that's where that relationship would benefit, just because they have to trust each other at this point after being teammates for so long. But in terms of like running the ball, I don't think it's going to have much of an impact. Like Etienne's just we'll see how great of he is as a running back, but I think he's going to be a very good pass catcher. Jaguars also quietly added tight end Evan Engram this offseason. Is he a quiet tight end that could break into the top 12 or someone you're probably passing on the season?
I'm passing.
No, he could.
But I don't want to take that chance.
Okay, so like with Doug
Yeah,
on the Birds, like I don't know if it's just because Ertz was like really good, but like with Doug, his tight ends finished 6, 3, 2, and 4. And then Ertz was hurt the last year, but that doesn't count. But they all finished, like, Ertz finished top 5 3 of those seasons, top 6 all of those seasons. Like, does Doug like tight ends?
And he would run like 2 tight end sets, whether it's Selleck and Ertz or Ertz and Goddard. Like, they're always on the field. So I think
that's a good point.
Ingram has a good chance of finishing. I think he's going to finish over Noah Fant if we're going to start from the bottom of tight ends.
I'm riding with that.
I respect that. I'm not sure how well he's going to fit into this offense just because we've seen him, like, people have believed in his talent for years at this point, and I feel like he's just kind of fallen further and further off with the Giants. But I do think a new situation is good for him. And then obviously Doug does scheme towards tight ends. I just want to see it before I believe it. Probably not someone I'm targeting in drafts, but someone I'm keeping an eye on if he goes undrafted on waivers.
He's always been like one of the more athletic tight ends, but
Yeah.
he was just in a dumpster fire in New York, and then he was dealing with injuries. So, I mean, are you able to have a breakout year when you're 27 years old?
Yeah.
Why not?
All right.
Cordell
Why not?
Patterson did at like 30 years old.
Yep.
He came out of retirement to have a breakout year.
Exactly. Yeah. There's always a chance. So I definitely think he's worth a flyer if you're looking for a late tight end that might have some upside, especially since the pass catchers in this offense aren't that great either. But let's get into some cap or no cap about the pass catchers, starting with Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk should be considered a lock for a top 35 wide receiver in this offense. Cap or no cap?
No cap.
I'll say no cap, and I'm just going to give my answers for the next couple questions. It's because Shenault doesn't seem like who we thought we were, at least maybe like me and Matt. And I know Sean loved him. Marvin Jones has gone down, sadly. in
No, he's
production.
not. No, he's not.
I think he's just about done.
Why?
But I think Christian Kirk was paid way too much money, but he'll definitely be top 35.
They paid him all that money. They are going to be looking for ways
Hopefully.
to get him the ball.
I think he has the potential to be top 35, but I'm not drafting him as a top 35
Oh,
wide
no.
receiver. So I don't think he's a lock per se. He definitely has the potential, especially considering the other targets. And I really like what he did in Arizona, even not being the number 1 or sometimes not even the number 2. But I wouldn't consider him a lock. So I have to say cap for now.
I think the volume is just going to push him over that barrier. I think he has to be in the top 35.
All right. I respect it. Next one, Marvin Jones prime is long gone and should be left undrafted in most leagues. Cap or no cap?
Cap.
No cap.
Cap. His last 2 seasons were the 2 best of his career. How is he like? What do you mean?
Last year?
Last year and the year before were his 2 best years.
Not better than 2017.
What happened in 2017?
He had 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns.
How many
Yeah, he was
receptions?
cooking.
How many receptions?
61.
Okay.
But he was
okay. So the
best wide receiver in the league that year.
the last 2 years, he had the most receptions of his career.
Okay.
That's what I
He
meant.
was definitely more
I'm sorry.
heavily targeted the last couple of years. I agree with that.
He shouldn't be undrafted.
I don't think he should be undrafted. either. I
No
think you're
shot.
right.
I think
I'm not
he's-
drafting him.
He's not. He's probably
I'll
one of
tell you that
the
much.
most unsexy names in the draft. Like, you're looking at Marvin
He's
Jones.
always been that, though.
He's getting older. He's inconsistent. It's like, is he
I'm
someone
putting
I
him
really
down
want
there
to
with-
put on my benches for a headache?
I'm putting him
Maybe.
down there with Corey Davis,
I'd take him over Corey Davis.
but it's close.
I would too. Corey Davis.
Not
is
close for me.
bad.
y'all are hating. I'll easily take him as like my backup flex that I could start every week need be.
Bye-week fill-in.
I mean, he did finish 33rd last year. Like, that's not bad.
And
A lot of it
18
did.
in 2020. Like, bro,
a
like,
lot of it did come earlier in the season, but he did have some later games as well where he showed up. I don't know. Maybe T Gods is right. Maybe he's swaying me a little bit about Marvin Jones.
Marvin
still having
Jones
a little
is
bit
good.
left in the tank.
He's so good.
I don't want to write him off for dead just yet. He's worth a late round flyer. All right, last cap or no cap. Laviska Shenault Jr. finally breaks out this season and finishes as a top 40 wide receiver.
Cap.
Cap.
We've tried this for 2 years and
Major cap.
it's not going to happen.
Top 50?
No.
Maybe. If
Top
he's
60?
lucky.
Cap.
Top 60,
Um,
yeah.
I'll take top 65.
Apparently, he's even being buried on the depth chart. Like, I think there's someone else
Yeah,
that's
he's
also
like
ahead of him now.
second to last. I think I saw yesterday.
Does he finish over Rager?
They put Zay Jones
Yes.
over him on the depth chart.
Ooh.
I think he finishes over Rager. He was 45th as a rookie, and he was 56th as a second-year wide receiver.
Easily finishing better than Rager.
Yeah, I think he'll be top 60 again, but I don't think he's going to be more than like more of a gadget kind of wide receiver. He'll probably have a couple where he just takes it to the house from a distance, but not going to be consistent. I wouldn't target him.
Mm-mm.
No, thank you.
All right, let's do some bold takes and favorite targets for the Jags. Matt, start us off. What do you got?
All right. We touched on this guy a little bit. It's unfortunate for my guy, J-Rob, but I believe with the opportunity at hand, Travis Etienne finishes as a top 15 running back. Like I mentioned earlier, he's going to be heavily involved in the passing game with Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be really the only guy in the backfield because J-Rob isn't going to start the beginning of the season. So I think his volume is going to be ridiculous. And obviously he was one of the best running backs coming out of that draft class. So the skills there, volume's there. I think he is poised for a big year.
I like it.
I like it too.
Definitely can see that potential there. I mean, on this offense, there's a big chance for that.
Yep.
Hugh might be on the other side of the marble. What do you got here?
Well, I feel like it would make more sense if I stay on this side. Someone to target if you're going 0 RB in the draft. I was going to say James Robinson if he were to start like maybe week 2 or week 3. He would be a running back that you can maybe plug in as your first or maybe probably your second running back of choice. But I'd probably go ETN. You may have more success drafting him. But if you're going 0 RB, I think at least ETN could be a good RB1 to have after you take 2 receivers. Or actually 2 anything, just not running back.
Yeah, after you take a few, I mean, his current ADP is like RB22. So you've got some wiggle room there to take him in like the 4th round. Yeah, James Robinson, definitely a good player to stash if you're doing that 0 RB theory for sure. You could throw him in your IR even if he's out for a long period of time. When he comes back, they're probably going to try and get him involved. So, but risk there, he may not come back at all. So we'll see as we get closer to the season. T-Gods, what do you got?
So my favorite target is, of course, Marvin Jones. I've been hyping him up the whole time. And it's just because, like, Christian Kirk is going at wide receiver 39, and Marv's going at 69. Like, you can get Marv super late.
On clearance.
And like I said, his last 2 years, he's had the most receptions in his career. Like, he's not slowing down at all. He hasn't taken a step back. Like, he's only gotten better. And I truly believe that him and Christian Kirk could put up like similar numbers. Like, and just because he's just an old guy, like he might as well be a tight end, like just like reliable hands, like trustworthy veteran. Like he's going to be decent, startable if need be.
I want to believe it.
I hope so.
There's no reason not to believe it. There's none. I can't think of any. Not even one.
I like it. I respect it. I'm also going to go on the other side, though. I'm going to just say my favorite target is Christian Kirk. I just think they paid him so much money that they're going to try to get him involved from day one. I think Marvin Jones is more of the, I guess, afterthought. I think he's still going to be involved, obviously, but Christian Kirk's going to be the guy that they're going to try to make their number one wide receiver, and he's never had that opportunity in his career. And last year we saw him when D-Hop was out for a bit of time. He did step up a bit. He finished as wide receiver 26 last year, almost 1,000 yards. He had a very solid season. I don't know if it garnered as much money as what he got, but they did pay him that money. They did bring him in. He's already getting on a good pace here with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is happy he's there, loves his football IQ. I think he's going to be pretty solid. I think where you can get him, he has the upside to get into that top 35. Like I said, he's got that potential. I wouldn't lock it in, but where you're taking him at like around 40, I think he's worth where he's being drafted. I think he's being drafted right around where he should be being drafted. But I do like what Mike T-God said about Marvin Jones too, though.
I think he's getting paid more than DK. DK gets paid like getting paid like $3 million that he's still on his rookie deal. Meanwhile, Christian Kirk's getting 72.
Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Terrible.
He was like wide receiver 30 last year.
And he's the ugliest player in the league.
Yeah.
That's so mean.
Yeah, Christian
He's
Kirk
like the
is not
football
that
Trae Young.
ugly.
Oh yeah, he is the basketball football Trae Young, just with a little more hair.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk's salary is 10th largest among wide receivers.
Jeez. And he's not even the 20th best
contract
receiver.
Yeah.
According to T-Gods, he's not even the best receiver on his team.
I
would like to agree with that because I don't like Christian Kirk, but
you'll
I like
see.
me some Kirk this year.
You'll
We'll
all see.
Let's move on to the Indianapolis Colts. T-Gods repping T.Y. Hilton. Unfortunately, he's probably not going to be back there this year unless they
It's
sign him.
okay. We had a good
Closer to
ride.
the season. It was a good run. Starting with anointing Carson Wentz their quarterback one last season, they quickly moved on after failing to make the playoffs in laughable fashion to the Jaguars. And they traded for aging veteran quarterback Matt Ryan. Does he have any value this season?
No.
I'd draft him as a backup.
He probably has the same value as Wentz did.
Yeah, like okay,
Yeah.
a backup, but like they're prioritizing the run, and it's
Yeah.
Matt Ryan throwing to like one usable receiver, and Mo Alley Cox. Like,
Yeah, when it comes to like a backup quarterback, I'm looking more for upside rather than just like consistent. Like
I'd rather take Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I'd rather take probably Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, maybe even Zach Wilson or Justin Fields, just trying to grab someone maybe in the first few weeks. They flash. Matt Ryan will probably end up on waivers at some point anyways, where you can pick him up and grab him. In a 2-quarterback league, he's definitely a solid quarterback to have as your number 2, just to have consistent, all right production. But in terms of like being a backup with upside, there's not much upside to be had.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the piece de resistance of this team. Jonathan Taylor dominated last season. He finishes the RB1 by a good margin. Is there any reason for not taking JT number 1 overall this season?
No.
Not
at all.
one reason. There's no reason not to take JT number 1. It makes me so mad.
I think this is the one position in fantasy where 1 and 2 aren't close. Like 1 and 2 quarterback, 1 and 2 receiver, tight end, they all might be closer. And like, I won't look at you wrong way if you're picking either or, but running back, I think it's clear cut Jonathan Taylor.
So I asked this on Twitter today, and I asked if anyone was taking any player over Jonathan Taylor this year, number 1 overall. Probably the majority of the responses said Christian McCaffrey. Would you look at anyone crazy for doing so?
Yes.
Yeah, I would.
They obviously do not learn.
You don't learn.
I understand where they're coming from. It's just like a very high risk,
don't.
high reward situation. If Christian McCaffrey, if you could guarantee he's fully healthy, you're taking him number 1 overall.
Well,
Are you
you
not?
can't guarantee that.
I know.
Can't do it.
But it's the high risk, high reward potential of that pick. That's
Risk
the mindset.
is way higher for me.
I'm
right
in the
now.
same boat as you. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. That's what some people are going for. The more risk, I guess not risk averse, whatever that is. They're going for the risk.
If I get picked 2, please take Chris McCaffrey. By all means, have him.
I'm in the same boat with you there. I did see someone say Eckler. I think that's
I wouldn't laugh at
That's
that.
that's
I
the
wouldn't laugh at that.
closest.
The closest.
Like him and Derrick Henry are right there for me.
Shockingly, no one said Derrick Henry in the replies. Eckler was said, and then the next most was Najee Harris. A lot of people are predicting that like
It's
that's
close.
just going to take
He's
that
not
step
Yeah,
up.
He's not 2 for me. He may be 3 or 4.
It has been a
3
long
or 4,
time
yeah.
since we've had the number 1 running back repeat in back-to-back
See,
years.
and they just hate on the player that finishes number 1, like Cooper Kupp. I have my doubts on him, so I guess that's how I feel about people with just Jonathan Taylor. But like, why can't he finish number 1 again? I mean, we've never seen it, but I mean, we have seen it. Antonio Brown.
Well, that's wide receiver. Last running back, I don't even know who that was. Who finished number 1 back-to-back?
Possibly
Did
LT.
Le'Veon ever do
LT
it?
maybe. I don't think Le'Veon did. I don't know if Le'Veon was
Never finished
Le'Veon ever
number
number 1.
He had to have been. He was so good.
He was ridiculously good.
Like
but he was
that
suspended
Steelers
that
team
good
was so
season.
good, and then they just had nothing to show for it ever.
Yep.
Le'Veon was number 1,
It's a shame.
got injured. Then he was number 3, then number 2,
But yeah,
and then sat
That's
out.
crazy.
I would not be surprised if JT finished number 1 again this year. He's got like one of the best O lines in football, one of the most run heavy offenses, and he's just one of the best, if not the best, pure runner in the league.
I'll be more surprised if he doesn't finish 1 again. Like,
Yeah, I think if you're taking JT at number 1, you're taking the safest bet for a top 5 running back. Even if he doesn't finish number 1,
Yeah,
he's necessarily a lock for top 5 as long as he's healthy and on the field. So, and we haven't seen anything to deter us from that at this point. So JT, he's got to be my number 1 still right now.
He started off so slow too last year, and he just got better and better.
Yep. Yes. Yeah.
As we
Let's
know.
hear it, Q.
I'm just
Tell me
saying.
what happened.
He didn't go stagnant at all throughout the season. He just got better.
He's just rubbing it in.
Yep.
Rubbing
Yep.
it.
And no,
okay.
Sean, the next question, no relevancy. Well, the JT's value.
Hinting at this, the next question, the Colts also still have Nyheim Hines on their roster. He did finish as RB15 only 2 years ago. Is he a target for you this season, or is JT just the true owner of this backfield?
Nothing more than a handcuff.
I would agree with that. I think
he might have some
has
flex value.
Yeah, maybe some flex value. I was excited last year as him as a flex value to see him still involved in the passing game a little bit. But his work and volume just went way down last season. He wasn't seeing nearly enough snaps to really be that relevant. He was getting like maybe 30, at most 40% of the snaps per game. Whereas in like 2020, he was getting closer to maybe 50.
They did sign Philip Lindsay. Oops, sorry.
Okay, Philip Lindsay. He's still living at home for some reason.
Yeah. He just didn't get as many targets.
He's a leech.
I do think Matt Ryan does like to pass to the running back a lot as well, though. So maybe there's a little bit more value this year, but not someone I'm targeting like solely. But if I have JT, I want Nyheim Hines.
Easily. 110%.
They had the same amount of receptions.
Yeah. So he's still involved, and Matt Ryan may look for him on third downs, but I don't think he's going to have top 15 again value, more closer to maybe around 30.
Top 30.
Yeah. All right, let's do some cap or no cap for the Colts. Everyone's loving Matt's new setup in the chat.
I'm loving it. I'm happy.
Rightfully so.
Cap or no cap, Michael Pittman should be considered a top 12 wide receiver.
Cap.
He's like right there. Right
I'm
there.
Gonna go cap though. I'm sure I can name 12. I'd rather have over him.
Sean is.
I'm going to say no cap. I have him at 12. No, I'm not heated. I understand. Definitely being scared of it. I'll touch on this for my hot take in a little bit.
You just
I'm
have
going to say
hope,
no cap.
You have to hope that Matt Ryan can turn him into like Julio or Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
So,
good luck.
I haven't seen any of those sparks out of Pittman though, so probably not.
Well, I mean, he did have Wentz.
Yeah. We'll see.
Let's not.
I'll touch on it in a second. I'll elaborate on why I think he's top 12. Cap or no cap, Paris Campbell finally asserts himself as the team's number 2 with T.Y. Hilton officially out of town.
All I put here was re-sign T.Y.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say cap. Paris Campbell
cap.
Can't stay on the field, sadly.
Can't do anything.
Who's the number 2? Mo Alley?
They don't have a number 2. That's part of my reasoning.
All
Why
right,
I love
fair
Pittman so much. Last cap or no cap, Mo Alley Cox is a sleeper tight end this season to keep an eye on with Jack Doyle now gone as well.
No
Only
cap.
if your
There's no
name's
cap.
Sean.
There's no competition.
Yeah,
no cap. He's got it
on
like
that one.
just because of volume. Like it's has to be there.
And I feel like he's gonna be Matt Ryan's like red zone go-to guy because Mo Alley Cox is huge.
It's a big man.
He
He's
is
a big
a
dude.
big man.
I do like Mo Alley Cox. They did also draft a rookie, Jelani Woods.
You can't be good with a name like Jelani.
Yeah, I mean,
Gelati.
rookie tight ends in fantasy struggle mightily usually. It's very rare for them to push into the top 12. Obviously, Kyle Pitts was a physical specimen. But other than that, it's very rare that they do break into fantasy relevancy. So Mo Alley Cox would be the guy. Very late round target or like bye week fill-in tight end to look for.
Just to go back to the receivers, they did sign Kiki Kuti, who last year or maybe the year before we called that he would have that big game because he only had big games against the Colts. So I guess they just signed him because they were tired of getting the Texans.
Yep. That's why they signed him.
They're playing defense. Chess, not checkers.
Makes sense. Let's do some bold takes and favorite targets. I think we know where this is going to be headed with right now. T-God, start us off. What do you got?
Well, I mean, who else can you talk about besides Mr. Jonathan Taylor? I do believe that he repeats his number 1. We've seen Matt Ryan produce number 1 running backs, or one number one running back before, and that was in 2015 with Devontae Freeman, and that was still with Julio finishing as the second best receiver. So like Matt Ryan knows what he's doing. He knows how to use his running backs. And if Jonathan Taylor can finish number one with Wentz, like I think Matt Ryan does nothing but help him with that. Like we know this whole offense just runs through Jonathan Taylor. Like he's the star of the show. He's going to be getting the ball like 90% of the snaps. Not really, but like it's all him. It's all Jonathan Taylor. Like the only way I don't see him finishing number one is like injury. Like I'm not concerned with Nyheim Hines. He had 56 rushes last year. Like no one's worried about him. Like it's JT. Like he's number one. No, stop. No Phillip Lindsay. No nobody.
Fun fact: Matt Ryan also had Michael Turner back in 2008.
Oh my God! I didn't go back that far.
Wow. He was RB2. He wasn't RB1, but he was RB2. He was elite that year.
Michael
I think
Turner
he was second
like
in MVP voting.
On the football field.
I think I have his jersey.
Any jersey to have.
It's probably like
he was nice.
Yeah, it was game worn.
All right, kid, what do you got?
I'll hop on the JT Lowe train. I think he finishes again as the RB1. And I think he breaks LT's record that we went over last year during the bracket of 33 total touchdowns and over 1,800 yards. Like we said, he's the star of the show. When they're in the goal or in the red zone on the goal line, we saw last year he scored 6 touchdowns because they're all in the red zone, and Matt Ryan's not going to be pushing anything in. So if it's not going to Mo Alley Cox, who may be a threat, John Taylor could be eating up the touchdowns this year.
Mm-hmm. Yum, yum, yum.
Mm-hmm.
He will be munching on those touchdowns.
All he needs is 2 a game.
That's a spicy take there, Q. Spicy take.
I should have saved it for the award show.
Is he going to have more passing touchdowns than LT had that year?
LT had 1.
He had 2 passing touchdowns that year too. So that's what makes it 33. He had 28 rushing, 3 receiving, 2 passing.
All right, JT. Matt Ryan might be too old halfway through the season.
Get the arm ready. All right, Matt, what do you got?
All right. I'm going to just stay on this Jonathan Taylor love train as well. And last year, I said Derrick Henry was going to go back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons. He would have if he didn't get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, it's going to be Jonathan Taylor. Like I said earlier, he's behind one of the best offensive lines in football. They're just going to pound him into the ground. I mean, he could take it. He's a great athlete.
Whoa.
He could take it. He'll be all right. He's a big boy. But yeah, he is going for 2,000 yards this season. Mark my words.
All right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. JT Love, I think we're all on the same boat here. JT's our unanimous number 1 overall pick right now for the pod. I'm going to break the chain here a little bit, though.
Of course.
My bold take, Michael Pittman will finish not only top 12 as wide receiver 1, but top 10. Let me go down this Colts depth chart real quick with wide receivers outside of Michael Pittman. Paris Campbell, who can't stay on the field. Can anyone name one other wide receiver besides Kiki Kute?
I was about to say
Desmond Stratton.
Desmond Patman.
Oh, I can't read. I'm looking at the thing, though.
Alec Pierce.
Yo, I just traded him.
Mike Stray-Chan.
Like Strahan?
Ashton Doolin. Samson Nakwa. DeMichael Harris.
I like DeMichael.
Yeah. DeMichael might be
DeMichael is going to be nice, dude.
There's about 150 targets available as well from T.Y. Hilton leaving, Zach Pascal leaving, and Jack Doyle leaving. Michael Pittman's going to be the clear-cut best wide receiver available on this offense for Matt Ryan to be targeting. We saw him get a lot of targets from Carson Wentz, but I think Matt Ryan has favored one wide receiver in the past very often in his career. Michael Pittman's going to have to play that Julio Jones role for Matt Ryan, like you already mentioned. Michael Pittman's just going to get top 10 by default with how much targets he's going to get in this offense. Last year, I think he was top 10 in targets he had 129. I think he wouldn't be shocked if he breaks 150 this year. Easy. Lock in Michael Pittman, top 10 wide receiver. Draft him. Don't sleep.
Okay.
Too much opportunity. Too
Okay.
much.
That would be insane.
I like it.
I mean, he was also 16 last year too, so it's not like he was far away. Or 17, sorry. Just a couple spots. He's climbing in there. All right.
Say so.
Q. Trivia. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. Maybe Matt will have some better luck this time around with the new setup. New feng shui. All right. So this first question, it's been a while since either of these teams have had a number or a top 10 wide receiver. Can you name the last receiver that finished in top 10 for each of them? I can give you the
Colts
year.
and the Jags.
Yeah. They were only a year apart.
All right. I don't think I need the year. For anyone in the chat, you can play along, put your answers in there as well. Drop any questions. We will answer some questions if you have any after we finish trivia.
There's no way the Jags ever had a top 10 receiver.
Please stop.
He was breaking almost top 5 too that year.
Oh.
Matt, come on.
Bro, I can't
Oh no, bro,
Use your
you know
brain,
it, Matt.
dude.
Matt, you know it. You know
It's
it.
deep in there.
You know it.
Yeah, you have 130
Woo
left.
woo woo.
I already got my 2 answers.
Woo, woo,
Me too.
You better not be playing any tricks here.
If I
think
don't
this
get
is
this right, like,
I think this is as straightforward as it gets. My answers are locked.
bro,
1 minute.
he was so good, Matt.
On the Jaguars.
Yes,
He was
so
elite.
good, so good.
I'm not giving you any hints.
Oh, shit.
That was like giving him a hit.
All right,
I
I'm
guess-
ready.
So for the Colts, it was Ty who finished at
Uh-huh.
wide receiver 5, and next year it was Allen Robinson.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It
I
took
knew
me-
you
wide
knew
receiver
it.
6.
Got them
took me
both.
a little bit.
Got them both.
All
You guys
right.
just repping.
As
I
soon as it
already knew.
clicked, I was
Yep.
like, you idiot.
So I thought I'd throw some different type of trivia questions in here. I combined those two together. That last question. I was going to do individual who was the last, but this question. So this is never have I ever question. You have to pick the one that has never ever. Okay. So you'll
Okay.
understand. Never have I ever been a top 10 PPR running back. And I'm going to list the 4 names. You got to pick the one that obviously has never finished top 10. Melvin Gordon, Justin Forsett, Trent Richardson, DeAndre Swift. Never have I ever finished as a top 10 PPR running back. Melvin Gordon, Justin Forsett, Trent Richardson, DeAndre Swift.
It has to be him, right?
Locked it in.
I locked it in.
I locked in.
Okay. It was DeAndre Swift. Oh my God. I thought maybe throw somebody off.
Nah,
He was
is-
top 5 until he got hurt last year.
Yeah, he just got hurt both years. That's what kind of gave it to me. Well, I also love Swift, so
You
I know
owned
everything
him,
about
like,
him.
every year.
Well,
Dynasty.
hopefully this one's a little trickier. So this one is
Dape said T Rich. Trap got it right.
Trap
though.
somehow
Swift.
got it right.
so this one is never have I ever had more than 10 touchdowns in a season.
Okay.
Julio Jones, Jimmy Graham, Kenny Galladay.
Just 3.
Just 3. Never had more than 10 touchdowns in a season.
There's no way.
It has to be.
It has to be,
Q's
but there's
fucking with
no
us.
way.
It has to
Okay,
be.
like-
Come on.
I'm
it has
I'm
to
saying
be.
Julio, but there's no way he never
I
had
think
more
we all
than
wrote
10.
it. Matt, did you write it too?
Yeah.
It was Julio.
No
He only
way.
saw right through you.
The most he's ever had was 10. The other 2, the most they've had was 11.
Okay. Who was the other ones again? Galladay and who?
Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham.
I knew Jimmy Graham had a big
On the
touchdown
Saints,
season
bro,
with the
he was
Saints.
on like 14.
He was a monster. And then I knew Kenny Galladay had a lot of touchdowns that made hit the Giants give him that big contract.
I don't even think that was the last year on there.
And Julio not catching.
touchdowns is like
touchdowns.
the story of his career.
Yeah.
He'll have 300-yard games, no touchdown.
I could give one more if you want.
Yes, I
You
won.
got it.
I won.
This is a 2 truths and a lie one.
Okay.
They're kind of longer sentences, but I'll repeat. Okay, so 2 truths and a lie. Matthew Stafford threw more interceptions than Matt Ryan threw touchdowns in 2021. Alvin Kamara had more rushing attempts than Austin Eckler in 2021. And DJ Moore had more receptions in 2021, more receptions than Elijah Moore and Odell Beckham Jr. combined. I can't repeat it.
Who was the player in the third one?
So DJ Moore had
DJ
more
Moore.
receptions
Okay.
than Elijah
Okay.
Moore and Odell.
What was
Wow.
the first one?
Stafford threw more interceptions than Matt Ryan threw touchdowns last year.
Okay. What was the second one?
Alvin Kamara had more rushing attempts than Austin Eckler in 2021.
It's between two for me.
Me too. I'm going to go with this one. They all sound like they could be true, though. So this is a good one, Q.
I didn't think I'd have to pull this one out, but the
All
other
right.
ones were too easy.
All
I'm
right.
locked in.
I'm locked in.
Locked in.
Okay. So it was Matthew Stafford threw more interceptions than Matt Ryan threw touchdowns last year.
I swore that was true.
I did too.
Me
I wrote
too.
Kamara.
How
No,
close was
I
it?
wrote the third one.
I wrote it down somewhere and I have to find it. But you can keep going. I'll get back to you.
Going where?
I don't know with the show.
Questions.
Matt Ryan had 20 touchdowns last year, or 21, I guess, if you count his rushing touchdown. I believe he used his legs. Stafford threw 17 picks. Okay. Fair. It's close.
That is fair.
I said Kamara's rushing attempts.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like he
Dave
was
said
hurt.
DJ Moore.
Yeah, well, Dape's 0 for 2. And the ones that he guessed.
Yeah, tough break. All right. Questions in the chat. Trap's got any questions?
Trap got that last one right too.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
cooked.
He didn't get he wrote Jimmy Graham for the one, and then put Julio with an asterisk.
Autocorrect.
He said, "Will Alvin make it to the Hall of Fame?" Alvin
Yes.
Kamara.
Yes.
He
I
might.
think, yeah, as long as he's healthy.
Or the chipmunk.
I feel like the Chipmunk's already in the Hall of Fame. All those Alvin and the Chipmunk remixes on YouTube.
Jones are fire.
All right, I think that's a wrap for everything here. Not seeing many questions in the chat. So that's a wrap for the first half of the AFC South. On Thursday, we will be back with the Texans and the Titans. So stay tuned for that.
Do we have to do that one?
Yeah, we got to talk about Derrick Henry and Brandon Cooks.
Of Derrick Henry.
And that's it.
And that's it. We don't need to talk about anybody
Davis
else.
Don't
Mills,
forget
Davis
about Davis
Mills.
Mills. Thank you.
Bobby
He's
backwards.
good. He's
He is
all right.
good. He was like the second best rookie quarterback last year.
Mm-hmm.
May have been the best.
May have been the best.
Trap also asked, what player do you guys think is a necessity to have on the squad?
The one that finishes number one in each position.
Very true. Make Joe Mixon.
T.
Every
Higgins.
league, you need him.
T.
Dalvin
Higgins.
Cook.
T.
Dalvin-
Higgins.
T. Higgins.
Uh-huh. Need
Higgins.
him.
I
good
like that. Like that.
Deep said, where will David Johnson sign?
I didn't even know he
he's a
was.
free agent.
Into a retirement.
Yeah, dude. Home.
Yeah, please retire, David Johnson.
They have Marlon Mack now.
Your best days are behind. Unless someone needs a pass catching third down running back.
That will get hurt every third down.
Yeah.
Every other third down. Sorry.
All right. If you're still here with us on Twitch, throw us a follow, turn on notifications so you don't miss us when we're live. Throw us a sub on YouTube as well. In case you do miss any live streams, we're also on Spotify, Apple Music for the audio. And of course, all social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Go follow us there. We'll have more clips coming out and whatnot soon. Just search Super Fantasy Bros. You should be able to find us everywhere. See you guys on Thursday. Peace.